carbon management students, and we're going to the zoo today.
You're gonna be a big man someday. You got mud on your face, you big disgrace, kicking your can all over the place, singing, we will rock you.
Set in 82 acres of sloping parkland, the zoo is situated 3 miles to the west of Edinburgh city centre. Edinburgh Zoo is one of Europe's leading centres of conservation, education and research, and it's also one of the most popular tourist attractions in Scotland, with over 100,000 visitors a year. Edinburgh is lucky to enjoy a relative benign equable climate because of the warm and wet ocean currents. The average temperature is about 6 to 13 degrees centigrade, and the average rainfall is about 700 millimeters per year. However, generally, weather in Edinburgh is quite unpredictable as a result of the oceanic climate. There are days of quick switch between pure rain and delightful sun. Rains come and go. This is why there are not many umbrellas used in Edinburgh.
UKIP's local climate impact profile of Edinburgh showed that the 5 types of weather trend most impacting the city are a warming trend, more frequent intense rainfall, extreme weather events, heavy snowfall and subsequent thawing, and others including lightning strikes. Between the period of 1997 and 2011, flooding and high winds were the most regularly reported weather events and their associated impacts on infrastructure, property and transport movement. The zoo faced the impacts of these weather events significantly in May 2011, with high winds causing the closure of the zoo due to safety concerns of falling branches. However, later that year, the severity increased. In December, high winds again led to the closure on safety grounds. Roads to the zoo were closed because of falling debris, trees. This travel disruption caused major delays around Edinburgh. In relation to most weather events, the zoo remains fairly safe due to its location and altitude, allowing it to receive barely any impact from severe rain events.
Under those 3 emission scenarios, low, medium and high, here shows the projected change of temperature and precipitation in eastern Scotland. Briefly, Edinburgh will become warmer in the future with drier summer and wetter winter. Sea level around Edinburgh is also rising. According to UKCP09 sea level change estimates, under the high emission scenario, there will be 18 cm rise by 2050s.
Most commonly, the public perception of a zoo is that of a center for exotic animals viewing and attractions. However, the Edinburgh Zoo's activities are much more diverse and may face some serious impact risks to 2050. The first activity of the Edinburgh Zoo is then, of course, the animals and attractions. If temperatures continue to increase at current rates, Edinburgh Zoo can expect droughts and heat waves, which may cause health problems to young and old animals, as well as employees such as zookeepers. Health is a big issue in the form of heat stroke and dehydration, but also new pests and diseases. Edinburgh Zoo is indeed a succession of recreated ecosystems for the animals' habitats, which ecosystems may be hard to maintain, especially during summer droughts. The winters of Edinburgh, by being wetter, might impact some of the enclosure with water. For instance, severe events with strong precipitation and storm surge may bring such a flow of water that some habitats might be suddenly flooded, putting animals and employees in danger. The strong winds that will occur more often will not only put the animals in danger, but also for security reasons, force the zoo to keep close to the public. This will result in potential damages to habitats and moreover turnover losses.
Apart from influencing Edinburgh Zoo itself, climate change also has transboundary effects, which have an indirect impact on the zoo and its animals. Power is needed to ensure the cooling and heating of certain animal species, as well as to keep pool pumps in the animal enclosures running. Power outages resulting from extreme weather events can therefore have an impact on animal well-being. Uninterrupted transport is not only necessary for maintaining food supplies, but also for keeping visitor numbers steady. Moreover, extreme weather events such as storms and high rainfall may result in declining visitor numbers over the years. Another major transboundary effect is that on the zoo's conservation activities in the animals' natural habitats. It is projected that climate change will have negative impacts on various natural systems such as mangroves, tropical forests, polar ecosystems or prairie wetlands. Climate change will increase existing risks of extinction of some more vulnerable species and loss of biodiversity. Edinburgh Zoo is involved in a large number of conservation projects around the globe. One of these is the Project Pinnamin, which focuses on conserving northern rockhopper penguins on Tristan da Cunha, an island group located in the South Atlantic. Northern rockhopper penguins, which can be viewed at Edinburgh Zoo, are listed as endangered on the IUCN Red List, as they experienced a large decline between 1955 and 2006. For Tristan da Cunha, the greatest potential threat is an increased invasiveness of introduced species due to warmer temperatures that allow them to thrive and displace more vulnerable native species. Moreover, coastal areas are likely to be affected if there is a rise in seawater, as it could encroach on the native habitat, forcing species that breed in the coastal zone, such as the northern rockhopper penguins and sub-Antarctic fur seals, to move further inland.
My name is Andy Kerr. I'm Director of the Edinburgh Centre for Carbon Innovation. For me, climate change has helped to drive change in behaviour about what is the zoo for, how does it help to educate, how does it consider the sort of research that is needed to work around the world to understand how climate change will impact on wildlife, on nature and so on. And from my perspective, what the zoo can do is it has a fantastic educational reach. The numbers of people that go through the zoo to look at wild exotic animals that they won't normally see in the wild. And it can therefore be a very powerful educator of the challenges that many of these species, many of these animals and biodiversity more generally are having with climate change, and then asking the audience, the people who are going to the zoo, to reflect on that far more. There's one thing to look at how climate change impacts directly on zoos, because it gets hotter, you've got to manage more heat, more wet, whatever. But I think there's actually a much bigger issue, which is around the business model and the whole ethos of what is the point of a zoo. That Edinburgh Zoo, and working with people like us here at ECCI, can look at how can you use them as a better educational resource that we can take forward.
Climate change.